You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. I apologize for my tardiness, but I had a pork butt on the grill, and I did not want to leave it on for another hour, so I was scrambling to get it off there and get down here as soon as I possibly could. All right, phone number here. See if I can get it up. 608-501-0718. That is the number to call. It's not going to be a live call-in show, but you can call, you can leave a message, and we'll get to it when we get to it. Probably not today. We do have a new caller today, so I'm going to go ahead and shut this music down. Yeah, we're going to get to our first caller. Let me just make sure the settings are all good. Good to go. Bang, bang, ba-bing, bang, bang. Be quiet. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. New caller of the day. What's going on?
Hey, Ryan. It's Seymour here.
Hey, Seymour.
I'm getting around to giving you a call. So, just hanging out here, getting ready for the draft. Well, we're about a little over a week away now. I mean, I've been Team Cooper DeJean in the first round since the beginning.
Yeah.
And saw his pro-day stats from Monday, and nothing's changed. I really would hate to see them have to move up to get him, but it's probably the first time in a long time I've advocated for them to trade up.
Yeah.
So hoping they're able to find a way to bring him home.
Come on, man.
A couple other players a little bit later in the draft that kind of caught my attention. Safety Cole Bishop. I know he was one of your guys. Wasn't maybe your top guy, but I think he was one that you liked out of Utah. Kind of like him. Maybe if we can get him in our second pick in the second round, I think he's somebody that would really fill a need back there in that secondary. And then Tyrone Tracy is an interesting running back prospect. Purdue spent most of his career as a wide receiver, so he would really bring a different kind of skill set to that position.
Sure.
And he could be kind of an interesting tool there on kickoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Beyond that, really enjoyed the X articles you were putting out there with the prospects.
Oh, good. I didn't know anyone was looking at those.
Time and effort. Wanted you to know that I appreciated it.
Good.
And then I listened to it on Saturday. I'm not sure if you put it up Friday or Saturday, but the podcast where you were able to put the Packers up against the rest of the league and kind of show where the gaps were position by position.
Sure.
I thought that was an interesting way of looking at where some high-end talent could really help bridge some gaps there and bring the Packers up to be more competitive in certain areas against other teams.
Yeah.
As far as podcasts go, I usually listen to your podcast on Overcast. Don't use the Google Podcast or Google Music. Never really had any problems, so if anybody's looking for something out there, that's a pretty good one. And then something fun. I don't know if you're not watching Shogun. You're really missing out.
Everyone's talking about that. That's what I got to do.
I catch it on Hulu.
It's on Hulu?
If you got Hulu, you can pick it up there. Otherwise, I think it's the first one on FX.
But maybe not.
So keep up the good work. Really appreciate the podcast. And try to get back in touch with you here around draft time.
Talking.
Later, bud.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate your first call. Please make sure to do that again. Yeah, everybody's been talking about Shogun. They've been going nuts about it. I just saw it somewhere. I thought it was on Netflix. I keep going there because I can't remember what it's called. And then I go on there and then I find something else to watch. I was watching, I think it's called Inside Man, Denzel Washington. It's funny because it's like the second Denzel movie I watched in a row, and I didn't know Denzel was in either of them. I was like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. And I stand by the fact that Denzel will never make a bad movie. Please don't even talk to me if you disagree. I don't want to know if he has a bad movie out there. Don't tell me about it. All right, Shogun. Noted. Got to check that out. What else? Yeah, Tyrone Tracy. It's funny you mentioned that. That was my first thought. It's probably a stupid thought, but kickoff, kick return, punt return has been kind of a big wide receiver thing. Sometimes kick return's kind of a running back thing, whatever. But the fact that the new kickoff rule is apparently more of like a running play, it's just kind of interesting. Tyrone Tracy, sort of a wide receiver running back hybrid. That's the first place my mind went to, is get that guy doing some kickoffs. But yeah, man, I'm glad you enjoy some of the content. It's always nice to get that feedback, because sometimes I do stuff like those articles. It really does take a long time, and I keep thinking I shouldn't do it. And then I'm like, well, it's kind of for you too. I need that, so I have a place to put stuff. And then I figure it's kind of cool to be able to have that kind of publicly. Anybody can look at it. They can read up on it. If you don't know what he's talking about on X, Twitter, whatever, I have the ability to write articles. I don't know where that came from. It's kind of a new thing, but Man on Fire is my favorite. Bro, Man on Fire, don't even get me started talking about Man on Fire. Holy crap. That's such a good movie. You got me all flustered now. Oh yeah, so I'm writing articles on there, and basically what it is I'll go find 10, 15 mock drafts, scouting reports for a prospect. Then I'll use the robot to create one massive scouting report. So it kind of pulls everything in, kind of tells you everything you need to know about the guy. I add in a couple little clips here and there. If I can find some highlights on there, I can add it on there. Then I put my notes. I'll go watch them, and then I'll give my grade, and then I'll give my explanation for why I think that. And I try to put little snippets. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If it's easy to kind of find and show and highlight, otherwise I just kind of tell you. But I put little snippets on there. So it is quite a bit of work. And then JJ also sent me his running back thoughts, so I put that in there. Jake has talked about possibly getting me some of his notes, so I'll put those in there. But dang, Man on Fire. First time I watched Man on Fire was in college, and my roommate, soon-to-be roommate, Blaine, who you may know as my half-Mexican attorney, came over, and we watched that movie, and it was just like, I was just sitting back like, holy crap. And I think we were doing like a Denzel marathon, and he's like, what do you want to watch next? And I'm like, would it be weird if I said, let's just watch it again? He's like, not at all. That's exactly what I was thinking. So we just watched it 2 times in a row. That is, if you haven't seen that, holy crap. JP says, Ryan, I shared your polls podcast with my Bears fan manager. He said, you're angry. I said, it's passion. It's funny because I did get a good amount of feedback, positive feedback on that podcast with the stats. I know I've had people reach out and be like, hey, can I get that sheet or whatever so I can play with it? So I've sent that out to a few different people. But that one was a lot of fun. And again, it's a good amount of work, so I'm glad to get that positive feedback and that people find that interesting. Sometimes I'm reading through numbers and I can just kind of feel people's eyes glazing over because my eyes are glazing over and I'm looking at the sheet. Other people are just hearing a bunch of numbers being thrown at them. I don't know how that comes across in podcast form, but yeah, the rants. I had somebody on YouTube come at me. I thought I had stopped those on YouTube. Apparently I didn't. I think I got it fixed now. But some Bears fan gets on there and gets all ticked off. No wonder you're losing subscribers. You're an idiot. Everyone in the media knows that the Bears are going to be great. You're just salty. It's like, that's your only comeback. Everybody knows. Like, bro, shut up. You're not even trying. I miss angry ranting Ryan. Bro, go check out the Polls Got an A podcast. It was just from a few. Facebook user says, "Go Pack, go" from El Paso. I was just talking about how much I like getting people from all over the place, so good to hear El Paso in the house. Joe with the $4.99 super chat. What's going on, man? He says, I also love your pod about the best possible NFL team last week. Very interesting. Thanks for all you do. No problem, Joe. I appreciate that. Jason says, what up, Ryan? What's up, Jason? How you doing, man? Too old for this. Always in the house, man. I don't know what you do for a living, but I'm glad that you're always available anytime, day or night, to be on my streams. Dude, I love you. I love that Denzel is getting into Shakespeare. As a theater guy, it's so fun to see. See, that's the kind of stuff I don't want to know. Too old for this, just so you know, all right? All right. That's it for the new callers. Let's go back to the top with Trevor.
Hey, Ryan. Trevor in Virginia. Tomorrow is my first day coaching 3- and 4-year-olds in T-ball, so wish my sanity luck.
Good luck.
Everybody's calling in, wondering where callers are, and I'm just sitting here, and am I the only one wondering if Joe the janitor might be on another state-sponsored vacation? I mean, I really hope not. But always had entertaining calls from Joe, and I feel like unless I missed him, there haven't been any in a while. So Joe the janitor, hope you're still out there listening. Pounding PBRs in your truck.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
Yeah, I don't know where Joe's at, but I know that Joe is somewhere enjoying a PBR, just living the dream, man. He's got a nice house. He's cooking up some steaks, just living the dream. Had us all thinking the guy was living on minimum wage and his wife's an attorney, and like he's just killing it out there in the world. But yeah, we miss you, Joe the janitor. Hope to hear from you pretty soon. Fat Albert, what's up?
Ryan, Fat Albert, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Hey, I just wanted to say I loved your analysis that you did on the points per position grouping. I thought it was really informative and had a thought on it. I wonder if, you took dollars in terms of payroll that was invested by position to compare. It's probably a good way to quantitatively and monetarily prove how much stronger the Packers are in terms of getting a return for their investment dollar compared to teams like, the Bears, who suck in every regard anyway, including management and investment and just about every category you can think of. But it might be kind of fun to do the NFC North. I know there might be quite a bit of legwork to do that for the league, but I mean, at least in the North, I think it'd be interesting. So again, nicely done, and I'll look forward to your thoughts on kind of crossing salary cap with those points. Thanks, man. See you back.
So check this out. Over the Cap has this NFL player valuation. By the way, this is on YouTube if you're wondering. So some of this is visual. You probably could tell with the whole talking about comments or whatever. But get on the YouTube channel and check this out if you want to see it visually. So I think this is kind of what we're talking about here. So what Over the Cap does is they use PFF to kind of give a value for the player. So they're not using the points thing like I was, but I think this is perfectly fine to quantitatively say how good a player is. And they sort of tie that in with how much people are spending. So, for example, we got Josh Allen at the top here. I just want to run through this just to kind of see exactly how they do this again. So, positional value, 43,232 overall value. So, I think this is like what he's worth based on being a quarterback that produced as much value as he did. So, I'm guessing it's like PFF grade and then a multiplier of being a quarterback. So, they're saying he's a $43 million guy. He's being paid $43 million. So the value over APY, it's almost exact, but they're saying that they got $232,000 worth of value over what he's worth. And then there's also value over cash if you're interested in the cash payment that he got or whatever. But I think we can sort by this. Yes, we can. So like some of the best value that you got, Brock Purdy, obviously, he's worth, they're saying, $32.6 million. His current average per year is $900,000, so they're getting $31.7 million in surplus value. But then we get over here and you can see the teams, right? So this is team total. And the Lions are actually the third highest. So it's Rams, Colts, Lions. The overall value of their team, and this is almost exactly what I've been talking about by those. I've talked about this before, maybe once, maybe a couple years ago or whatever, I don't remember. But the entire idea here from a GM standpoint, if you really wanted to squish it down, is we want this number, overall value, to be as high as possible, right? It doesn't really matter how much cap we're using, like the value over APY is kind of what we're shooting for. We just want the most valuable possible team. If you take all the positions and multiply how good they are to give me a total team value, that's the maximum thing you want to get. So that's why it's great to have young, inexpensive players. You want to get guys that perform beyond their contracts, et cetera, et cetera. The Packers are up here in the top probably 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's top 14. I don't know why there's only 14 teams listed. But they have the Packers 14th with $16.3 million in surplus value. Now, I think part of the reason that might be lower than some people might expect is you look at the valuable guys that we have, like Christian Watson. Well, he didn't play very much. Even guys like Dontavian Wicks and whatnot, like they didn't get a ton of time, whether that be because they were discovered a little bit late or they got injuries. Even the two tight ends, one of them just started to figure it out and then got hurt. The other one didn't come in until he got hurt. So I think this number actually will probably go up. The only difference being, we'll see what happens with Jordan Love's contract. But if we can get guys to be more consistently impactful in the game, we start getting guys like, Lucas Van Ness making a larger impact, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully get some impact from our rookies from this class. This number goes up. But this is the main point right here. We want this value to be as high as is humanly possible. Which Packers player? So Jordan Love was actually the highest. According to this, we had $36.2 million in value from Jordan Love, and his APY was $13 million, giving us a surplus value for him of $22.6 million. So, I mean, I like this stuff, and I think this is kind of what you were asking. I think this stuff is pretty cool. Zach Tom was the second highest, $13.5 million. We're paying him $1 million. But that's Gutekunst's job, right? That's his entire job. Maximize this and minimize this. Maximize the value of your team, minimize the spend to get to value over APY or whatever. And then cash is a separate part of it. But as a fan, the cash is your problem. The cap is my problem, or what I'm interested in. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. This is a premium part of OTC. If you want to check this out, you got to pay for their premium stuff. They got some cool stuff. One of my favorite tools that I use is this when I do mock drafts. It's their depth charts. So if I'm doing, for example, the New York Giants, I come in here. It doesn't tell you everything, but it's color-coded. So I can see, because one of the issues I always had when I did mock drafts, I don't know the teams. I'm talking about guys that are gone, right? Or whatever the case may be, or guys that are leaving soon. So blue are free agents this year, so they're gone as of right now. The yellow is they got 1 year left. So that all matters. And then you can see, if you click on it, you can see their age, you can see what year they become free agents, and stuff like that. So this is a pretty cool tool. Not to sell things for people for no reason, but I guess if you're interested, you should check it out. What do you think about Darius Robinson? I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Darius Robinson. All right, Joe says very interesting. I'm guessing we're talking about this. Let's get to what time do we got here? 16 minutes. Why don't we take a break? And we'll be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. We all have smartphones, and we all know they're pretty amazing, but they also can be amazingly distracting, especially when we're around other people. So US Cellular wants us to reset our relationship with our phones by putting down our phones for $5. That's right, a company that sells phones wants us to put down our phones. And to see what we find, learn more at uscellular.com/built for us. This spring, make sure you're eating stress-free with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every single one of Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Like literally 2 minutes. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 options, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, and Veggie. And they've got more than 60 add-ons every single week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks, beverages. So there's nothing to wait for. Get started right away. If you're looking for something gourmet, they've got that too. They got premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, truffle butter, broccolini, asparagus. I don't even eat that good. It's also going to be tailored to your schedule. You can customize your weekly meals with the flexibility to get as much or as little as you need, pause, or reschedule deliveries to suit your lifestyle. So head over to factormeals.com/PackDaddy50 to use code PackDaddy50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next box. That's code PackDaddy50 at Factor.
Hey, Kyle from Madison.
What's up, man?
Quick draft take I'm looking for from you. All right, so let's say I agree with you, like, as this thing gets closer, as the draft gets closer, like, I do think you're going to see these cornerbacks moving up. And I agree with you. I think it's possible you get to 25. There's none left. Here's a question for you, though.
By the way, I lied. I always get these guys confused. Damian, I'm guessing is how you say his name, but it's Chop Robinson and Darius Robinson. So Darius, just to answer your question more specifically, I hate him as an edge rusher. I think it's useless. I'll have to go back and watch again and see my thoughts on him being possibly moved inside and being a defensive tackle. But the little bit I watched of him, I was like, you've got to be, like, I don't understand it. I don't know. So, anyways, sorry about that.
Let's say the Gutekunst and crew believe they are going to need, like, let's say they're hearing information that we're not privy to, but they believe that the run on cornerbacks is going to be finished by like 18
to
20, okay? Which, like, all things being equal, you got to trade up. Let's say you got all three of these top three. I'm going to consider Cooper DeJean something a little different for these purposes, I guess. But maybe throw him in there. But let's say you had Terry Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, and Kool-Aid. Just those three, all right? Because those are all very specialized cornerbacks. I do think Cooper could play safety, could play slot, can play outside. Little different, little toolsier guy, a little different guy. But let's just say it's a like for like. You can trade up, and you've got McKinstry and I think Terry Arnold probably is going to go first. But of McKinstry, well, of the top three corners, if you could just pick one at 15, who would it be? That would be my question to you, because it seems like oftentimes these consensus boards will inflate one person for maybe no particular reason, and then that person ends up going lower. Anyway, I'm not sure it's not McKinstry, but I don't know if the injury scares away the Packers, or it sounds like it's just a Jones fracture. I don't know. But he looks like he might be a stud, and Alabama DBs, I mean, it's a pretty good bet. But my other question is, all right,
so first of all, question for the comment section. I'll pose it to you first. Terry and Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, or Kool-Aid McKinstry, in the order of. I'm curious what Draft Buzz has to say about this, just out of curiosity. Let me know which one you would rather take, because here's kind of my issue. I have kind of ignored Quinion Mitchell and Terry and Arnold because I assume they're gone. So I don't think about them as much. So Kool-Aid is sort of my top guy. He's sort of the guy that is, or of course, Cooper DeJean. I really like Cooper DeJean also. But I think as of right now, I haven't done my second walkthrough with corners. Kool-Aid's my guy, but I don't know how much of that is I just put Quinion Mitchell and Terry and Arnold out of my mind, specifically Terry and Arnold. Quinion Mitchell, I really like mostly because of what he did at the, I think, Senior Bowl. When I didn't have much to go on to watch him. I think I watched one game, but I didn't like him as much. But it's hard to not love what you saw at the Senior Bowl and the athleticism and whatnot, and just say this guy's going to be a freaking stud. I feel stupid saying Kool-Aid, because obviously they have these guys almost top 10, and Kool-Aid's down here. They have Arnold, Mitchell, Wiggins, Kool-Aid. But I don't know, man. I really like Kool-Aid McKinstry. I just do. I'll have to do a second run through and pay more close attention to these two, because, again, I just kind of put them out of my mind as being non-options. Quinion Mitchell gets you super, super excited. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to say Kool-Aid just because I know I really, really like the guy. But besides that, I can't really tell you. What's up, dude? Jason would take Kool-Aid. What's up?
When do you think that we're going to put the meat?
I put the meat inside already. I did it right when you guys got home.
I know, but I'm saying, like,
tomorrow.
We have to. When are we going to eat it?
We got a intermission here. We'll have it tomorrow. It'll be done early, like right when you wake up. It's ready to go.
Okay.
All right. Hey, can you do me a huge favor? Can you get me like anything to drink? Have the girls pick something and bring me something. Thank you. My daughters like doing little chores like that, so they'll appreciate it. All right, yeah, Kool-Aid, the pic says pop. All right, I guess I'm not alone in that. Everybody seems to, everybody, Jason, me, and Papa Ganja like Kool-Aid, so, all right, fair enough. It's a done deal. What's the second part of your question?
Rushers.
Pass rushers?
That we might have in the 15 to 20 range. I don't think he's getting 25. Probably the guy I like the best. That's a pure edge, not at one of the D tackles, not
Actually, we gotta do
a couple of guys that might be there the inside. But I do like Verse a lot.
Okay.
If like they could get him at like 15 to 18 or something, and they don't think they can get a cornerback, I wouldn't mind them taking Jared Verse. I think, man, he just looks so freaking explosive. He's got a couple just unbelievable moves. I know that's less of a position to need, but with these young quarterbacks going to be in the league, if you get another edge like that, like, and you know the Packers like to inoculate themselves, you know, a year early. So I'm guessing maybe Preston hangs it up or moves on. You don't know about Nick Barty. You're down to Van Ness and Gary. I think they would be looking realistically for an edge. So just wanted your thought on that. Cornerbacks and then maybe an edge.
Edge is extremely interesting because some of these guys I think are really going to fall. And it's a question of which one. I don't think Dallas Turner does. I'm not saying he's... And that's the other thing. No idea who necessarily what the order is. Somebody had done a mock draft before and they were talking about this and they mentioned how essentially there's kind of a zone here where teams would need an edge rusher and then like through here, or technically through here, you start to kind of lose that and other teams looking for other positions, you know, tackles or corners or whatever. And so there's a question of how far are these guys going to fall. Plus, when you look at them, I don't know that necessarily any of these guys are immune to falling. Again, I don't think Dallas Turner falls. Jared Verse, I think, could. Latu, obviously. I mean, a lot of people think he's the best pass rusher, but his injury history is unbelievable. He medically retired and then came back from retirement. I love Chop Robinson. He and Braylon Trice are two of my favorite pass rushers in the class. But Chop, I mean, he could be the first one off the board. He could fall to the back of the first round. He can go into the second round. If people just aren't as impressed because he's sort of a smaller speed bend guy and he can't really hold the edge, whatever it is, I would say almost any one of these guys could end up falling. What you got for him? Oh, no, you got a big smirk on your face. What is this garbage? Why is it like hanging like a booger? Don't come over here. You're on camera. Hey, go that way. You have no shirt on. You're not coming over here. What is it? Is it just milk? Is it almond milk? Why are you laughing? I'm so scared. Is it almond milk? It tastes like almond milk. What is it? Are you going to tell me? Okay, well, thank you.
No. Dad.
What? No, why?
Because you're making me laugh.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you for the drink. All right, Kyle, back to your next call here.
Hey, what's up? I just wanted to make a follow-up here to a conversation we had a couple days ago. You know, I was talking about how Wolf drafted all those cornerbacks in response to Moss. And we know you got it. You know, winning the division is just your easiest path in. And I got to thinking, all right, well, what record? I'm just looking at last year. I don't have access to a whole lot better stats. I can go year by year here, but I figured this is a good enough snapshot. If we look at last year, right? So what do you need to get in your division? What is the relationship between division record and the playoffs, right? What is the magic number? Well, it's pretty obvious last year anyway. The Packers got the 4-2 within the division. So did Detroit. We were both 4-2. And if you look across both the AFC and the NFC last year, 4-2 got you in the playoffs with one exception in each conference. And it was just by a tiebreaker between the Packers and the Saints. Packers got in because we beat them earlier in the year. And the Dolphins and the Jaguars, because the Jaguars basically choked away several games at the end of the year and lost their tiebreaker. But otherwise, if you got a 4-2 record within the division or above, you were in the playoffs. So, regardless of which position in the division, whether that was first or second, if you were 4-2, you had a pretty good chance of getting through. So it just kind of underscores the importance of performing well within the division and matching up well against those teams in your division, which I guess is obvious, but maybe it's even more important than we realize, because you kind of think, well, we only play them twice. This not that big a deal. It's 17 games or whatever. Well, not really. I mean, it's a third of all your games, and if you're below a 4-2 record, not one single team that placed 3-3 in the division last year made the playoffs. So if anybody's doubting the importance of, maybe they're not around, but if anybody's doubting the importance of, performing well in your division and matching up well against the division rivals, I'd say that's pretty strong proof that you absolutely need to. Again, not one team below a 4-2 record made the playoffs. So anyway.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this, but it might have even been one of your calls, I don't know, but talking about matching up with the Vikings and the Lions and the Bears, and I had made the same point. It's, we're talking 6 games, it's a 30-year season. Of course, it's massive. Being able to win and dominate your division puts you basically in the playoffs every year. Now, getting through the playoffs might be a second question, but yeah, if you can find a way to beat your division rivals and have that on lockdown, you're right. You're probably just, look at teams that have done that. The Packers, the Patriots, etc. That's why they go to the playoffs every year. Now, some teams have better success than others, but I think what that does is gives me an idea for a podcast that maybe I can do. Well, we got to go through the positions, but be an interesting podcast to do, to kind of look at where our division rivals are strongest, but also kind of anticipate what they're doing, right? We know the Bears are adding a quarterback, so you start thinking, okay, corner pass rusher, and then potentially a wide receiver with that next pick is what most people think. So again, corner. Minnesota going after a quarterback, very obvious at this point. So being able to have that corner pass rusher to shut down the pass makes a big difference. The Lions, I'm not entirely sure what their plan is. I'm thinking when I went kind of look through it, I think pass rusher would be the one that would be the scariest. And now you're thinking maybe offensive line, but it might be kind of an interesting thing to gander at some point in the future, especially post-draft, right? Okay, now that we have the lay of the land, how do we beat this division? I think that'd be a pretty good thing to look at.
Okay, quick amendment to my previous statement. Yes, the AFC North beat the hell out of each other in the division, so I was wrong. That is the one kind of... This would be interesting to go back if I had a little bit better interface with stats. I'm just looking at the NFL.com site with records by year, but I was wrong. The AFC North beat the hell out of each other last year because the Steelers actually finished 5-1 in the division, but they didn't make the playoffs. Or did they? Actually, they did, didn't they? Geez, what am I thinking? They did. But then the Ravens and Browns both were 3-3 in the division, and they were in the playoffs. So that division was kind of an outlier. They had 3 make it. But generally speaking, last year 4-2 was the ticket. So just wanted to not put out fake news. All right.
Yeah, and 4-2 I think it is also pretty achievable. Just projecting out, I know Vikings fans are going to be mad, but I don't see them. I think this is going to be a really low year for them. It's not to say they're going to be bad for a long time. That's a different question. But I feel like this is sort of the bottom of their rebuild. I mean, losing your quarterback is massive.
Okay, so, quick amendment.
Hit the enter button. I would be surprised if that's not 2 wins. Between the Lions and the Bears, I mean, I'd be shocked if we didn't get 1 each. And for the Bears, I mean, I would not be surprised if we won 2. The only way we don't is if Caleb comes in and he ends up being a stud. So I feel like that's a pretty safe bet, at least for this year. We'll see how things progress.
Hey, what's up, Kyle? So for this draft competition, here's what I'm proposing for this competition, just because I think it'd be fun. I think the simplest thing, you get to pick 10 players. We're just doing the Packers, okay? You get 10 picks. You have to you as in me or whoever, not Ryan, has to write up their picks on an email and send it to him. So Ryan, you can give us the email address wherever you want that sent. And here's the scoring system I was thinking that's the easiest, right? If you pick a player in the Packers draft them, you get 1 point. if a player's picked, and you also get to pick a round. So a player, 10 players, and then next to that player, what round you think. If they pick that player and you got the round correct, you get an extra point, right? Like if you picked all 10 players correct in every round, you get 20 points. Really simple. And then we're all just kind of on the honor code, unless there's some dispute. And then Ryan, you can just look in your email and verify, oh yeah, what they're saying is true. And then you just tell us what fabulous Packernet prizes we're competing for, whether it's season tickets to the game for a year or, like a new, I've been looking at those Ford Mavericks. Maybe you could, maybe that could be second place.
Ford Maverick. I haven't heard of that.
Or some Packernet t-shirts, I guess, also. Anyway, that sounds really simple. Nobody's got to really do any work unless there's any conflict. We just email it wherever you want, and away we go. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
So I'm trying to pull it up. I did have somebody help me out with this. They actually already created the form, and then they have a spreadsheet where all this stuff gets submitted to the spreadsheet and gets scored right there. The only issue with that would be any spelling errors. So we would have to kind of normalize like a list of names that you could use, almost just copy and paste it would be kind of ideal. I don't know why I can't find it. I'm positive this was through email, and I don't know where it is. Is it this one? Nope. It's not that. I will find it. I'll work through it. It's really annoying because it should be just sitting right here in my email. But yeah, we might have that ready to rock and roll. I even went to the forums and I don't see it here, so I just usually it pops up. But anyways, I want to kind of play with it a little bit, see what happens, kind of work through it, and it's basically ready to rock and roll, and I can send it out whenever. I also do have to figure out like a prize or something. Probably just be like a Packernet t-shirt. Wouldn't that be cool? I guess. I don't know. Maybe not. Doesn't matter. It's free. What do you want from me? Freaking, I swear. Why don't we take our second and final break? We'll be right back in here for more with Trevor.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Hey, Ryan, Trevor in Virginia. Talking about the news. I don't know why they all just don't come from upstairs. Like, we have a million people watching replays and slow-mo of every play. Why not just get it right? And they're kind of trending that way. Some of these flags and stuff get adjusted, which I love. When they do it quickly, that is. And they seem to be able to do it very quickly lately. So I like that. So my number one thing would be just to get rid of challenges altogether and have it all just come from upstairs. But with keeping the challenges, I agree. Like, if you're getting them right, like, why is there going to be a cap at some point? I think they should just change it altogether where you can challenge, but if you win, you win the challenge. If you lose, it's a personal foul on the coach, 15-yard penalty, move you back. That'll, because then you're not going to have people challenging a bunch. You're only going to challenge if you're,
idea.
Pretty confident that you're going to get it right. And, you're not going to have, I don't think you're going to have people challenging all the time if you change it like that, but you're still going to be able to challenge when things are egregious and get things turned around, So, just do that instead of this limit thing, which I get the pace of the game and everything, but it's not going to, if it's happening that much that it's affecting the pace of the game, then your problem isn't the challenges, it's the officiating. So, like, let's fix the actual problem here. I mean, I love the official in the booth now. I think we need more officials in the booth. We need just more technology in general to do this stuff. I don't know why we don't have chips in the ball yet. Seems pretty easy. We have very advanced technology. We can do this, and then the first down stuff can go away. Fine. You want the aesthetic of the guys standing there with the yard markers on the sideline? That's fine, but we don't need them to actually be determining where the ball is. When those guys go and they stick it in the ground, if they're stick it 2 inches to the left or right, it's going to determine a first down or not. Like, I get it, right? That's the way things have done for a long time, but we have technology beyond that now. Why can't we be better?
Maybe we need the XFL to do it, and then the NFL will do it, like with the kickoff. Anyway, I went on a little rant there. I didn't intend to. I was just calling about the challenges. Then I think it should be a penalty if you get it wrong instead of taking them away. So, how'd that go?
Yeah, it's certainly an option. I mean, there's definitely ways to incorporate, you shouldn't have a limit on challenges. If the refs get it wrong, they get it wrong, but you also don't want to slow the pace of the game. So, again, my solution was you only get so many wrong, like you get infinite challenge flags, supposing you're not wrong. And then 2 times you're wrong, you're done. That's another way to do it too, though, is some kind of penalty. 15 yards feels hefty. You'd almost never want to challenge it, but, do something. Could be 5 yard, could be loss of down. I don't know, whatever. Definitely options, but again, they're moving in the right direction, I guess, with changing the challenge stuff, at least moderately. But you're right, there's a lot more they could be doing, and they're just not. And hopefully those smaller leagues, UFL, whatever it's called these days, hopefully they start to innovate and push the NFL in the right direction. Michael says, is this the right channel to watch you on, or do you not get credit for this? If I'm going live, you can come check me out here. That's perfectly fine. This is also going to be a podcast tomorrow, so just listen to that wherever. Don't worry about that too much. Here is, I found it, the form. So this was put together. So put your name here, and then who will be the Packers' first selection? What round will it be the first pick, selection, whatever? Who will be the second selection? What round, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the way down. And then that gets exported to a little sheet here. Doopy-doo. And it's going to have your name. It's going to have all that stuff. And then there's going to be scores here with these people and what they got right and their total scores. So pretty cool little deal there. I can't imagine too many people are going to get too many points, to be completely honest. But it's worth a shot. And I think it'd be kind of cool. And again, most of the work is basically done. You just got to put your name and spell people right. And I'll try to, again, hand out like an official, I think it's from, he said it's from NFL.com, is the list that he would use or something like that. So that's what we'll do. All right. Let's get to Uncle Rico.
Yo, Ryan, it's your Uncle Rico.
We're here.
I was just calling in for Kyle from Madison.
Oh, okay. Should I give you his number?
The Packers are going to draft Leggett because they're on a wide receiver role.
Uh-huh.
I get it. I agree. We have to take one if there's an awesome one available, but it's not going to be somebody we ever heard of before. It's going to be some person we never heard of before, some obscure talent. And it's going to be in the mid-rounds, and we're going to love him, and then we're not going to know what to do with him. Everybody's going to be bent when we cut Dobbs or somebody else where he's rolled. His role, he's going to take their spot. He'll take somebody's spot. Everybody wants to get a receiver, but nobody wants any other receivers to go. So it's got to be...
Everybody want to be a bodybuilder.
Rico, out.
Don't nobody want to lift this heavy weight. It's a family show. Got to leave out that one part. Dude, look how many wide receivers there are. That is an under... I mean, JJ hasn't stopped talking about wide receivers, but just look how many there are. Look how many in the top 50. I mean, how many times, granted, once in a while, but how many times do you hear about Roman Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell? You just don't. Like, we hear about these guys, but I don't hear... And then, again, Malachi Corley, Xavier Leggett, Jalen Polk, Devonta... I mean, these are all top 100 guys. Jermaine Burton, Jalen... These are potential second-round picks for the Packers. Nobody's talking about it. Because they're like, oh, I don't know, Edgerrin Cooper. I like Edgerrin Cooper. I would be happy if that's a pick, but these are all potential second-round picks for the Packers. Some of these guys might be potential first-round picks. We assume that wide receiver isn't the biggest need, probably not going that way, but look at it this way. If we are actually doing best player available, what are the odds that a wide receiver ends up being the best player? Pretty high, considering just the vast number of wide receivers. So definitely need to, if you're going through prospects and if you're watching them, I had said I want to do the top 200 for each position, and I may regret that when I get to wide receiver because there are a stupid amount. But even if you did top 100, I mean, that's still the vast majority of this list. But man, there's a lot, and Xavier Worthy is he's one of them. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Or Xavier Legette. There's two Xaviers. Xavier Legette. Both of those guys. You got the speedster, and then you got that sort of yards after the catch thick boy. You know what I'm saying? Nico.
Ryan, how the heck are you?
I'm good,
Nico.
man. What's going on?
Enjoying my life, driving around, checking out the beautiful weather. We had some snow the other day. Where I live, we don't get a ton of snow, but we are in a basin, and the hills that surround us, at least on one side, they get blanketed in snow, and here it is 50 degrees. It looks beautiful. Anyways, so I heard on podcast the other day, it might have been yours, and if it is, I'm sorry, but I listen to so many podcasts that I can't keep track.
All good.
The Packers have more playoff wins in the Cowboy Stadium, I think since its name change, which I don't remember the name because who cares about Dallas, than the actual Cowboys themselves. I tell you what, if you're a Pack fan, if you're having a bad day, life is treating you rough in Dallas than Dallas does themselves, and that's enough to just make anyone happy. Anyways, I was, hearing a lot of talk about linebacker, and, I'm from the era where the 4-3 was what everybody ran. And in order to have a good 4-3, you had to have really good linebackers, which we might have one. I don't know if we have any more. I don't know if anyone remembers like the 90s Steelers with Levon Kirkland. That guy looked like B.J. Raji, but he ran like a deer. I mean, God, that guy was amazing. Anyways.
I think my first favorite, I don't even know why, but my first favorite non-Packers player was Junior Seau. Just a random linebacker. But he was just a freaking beast. That's right. It's like one of those guys you can't not like the guy.
Why am I saying that? I have no... Oh, no, I remember. So if we do get a good plug-and-play linebacker, whether it's free agency, which I don't even know if there's any left, or if we draft one, I know there's not a ton, but there's a couple people, that are saying, hey, this guy, just throw him in your lineup as a starter. If we could free up Quay Walker, because that guy is a physical freak. And this is solely based on one play last year, and there might have been more, but sometimes I was not thinking straight during the game, where just like he blitzed and the guy was so fast and he just got to the quarterback, and I don't remember if he either had a sack or caused disruption, but that guy is a freak. And if he blitzed 5, 8, 9, 20 times a game, the dude, I mean, once he's in full steam, ain't no offensive lineman stopping that guy. He's just too fast and large and stuff. He needs to blitz more. If we could free him up to just cause havoc in the backfield, golly wally. I mean, I feel like that's what we need to do to him. Instead of just having him kind of sit back and wait for people to run at him, we need to be launching him like a missile at the quarterback. Anyways, that's my 3 minutes of thoughts. I hope everyone's having a good. We're done.
Yeah, I don't want to fall into the trap of like now that we switch something, everything's going to be fixed. But I just been watching our linebackers for a long time, and I feel like we always got just two guys sitting back there, and they always have too many assignments, and they end up doing none of them. They stand there. They, if somebody runs a route behind them, they're too far forward. If somebody is running the ball, they kind of stand there and wait for them to come there. Like, they're just the most ineffective group ever. And I put that on Joe Barry because it feels like that was what they were asked to do. And so I agree. And I understand we're going to be running nickel most of the time, but still, we're going to be in base, 25, 30% of the time. And I like the idea of being able to say, look, I'm going to take X, Y, and Z off your plate. You just do this. And that's what Jeff Hafley's all about, is simplifying. Just do this. Here's what you're doing. Just that thing. And I think that's going to work for Quay. I really do. I mean, whatever it is, because he is a versatile enough guy, but I think if you just say, go get him. Just go get him. I think he'll be fine. He had so much just sit back and wait and anticipate and don't over pursue because they might do this and da-da-da-da-da. I don't know, man. I want to see these guys cut loose a little bit because they're good football players. I mean, we invested a lot in the defense. We have a lot of good players there. They should be allowed to play football, not have to just be scared all the freaking time. And I understand that means probably going to give up some big plays here and there. But now I remember one of Jair's best years, actually it was the year before his breakout year, he kept jumping a bunch of routes. He was just jumping everything. He was super twitched up. But occasionally, somebody would kind of catch him on that double move. Jair would jump him, and then he'd get going. And he'd just get beat deep. And it's like, oh, he's got to learn from that a little bit. But still, you appreciated it. He broke up a ton of passes. He was super, he had his eyes on the ball. He was everywhere. He was doing everything. I still appreciated it. And it's like, they got him. That sucks. Got to be careful there, Jair. But also, awesome. It's so much better than just watching your guys stand around and just point at each other. Oh, I thought you were supposed to be over there. I got that. It's like, guys, just, if you're going to suck, just go hit somebody, run it, chase something, do something cool. I don't know, man. I can't stand this play scared. Don't give up the big play. Just keep everything in front of you. Let them trickle down the field. These freaking quarter-long drives, 15 plays. Yeah, but they only got 3 points. Great. Well, our defense is dead by halftime. Our offense is sitting on the bench. Like, this is a wonderful strategy. Thank you so much for coming up with this brilliance.
Oh, Ryan.
Bend don't break can burn with fire. I hate that crap. I hate it so much.
Nico again. Hey, another random thought while I drive around. So one of the podcasts I listen to is the Around the NFL, which I like because none of them like the Packers.
Annoying as hell. I hate that show.
It really pains them to say anything good about the Packers.
It does.
They're all like Jets and Bengals.
And they're so arrogant. Like, I understand, like, you're on TV and you got to have some level of, like, confidence or whatever, but it's just so arrogant. And I look at them like, you guys aren't smart. You don't deserve to have this sort of, like, I'm so cool swagger. And even, like, they got these long intros. Like, this is the NFL podcast with and they just sit there with their, like, cool. And you're right. Anytime that short little guy has to talk about the Packers, he gets all pissy about it. Like, yeah, the Packers, yeah, they're not there. Yeah, you think they're good? Yeah. Ugh. It's like, you're all stupid. And it drives me nuts. I listen to it because I have to, because I want to see if there's anything that they say that I can make fun of on my show. But it's just, that one rubs me the wrong way more than just about any other show. I don't know why. I can't think of a single show right now that is more annoying to me than whatever the one is you just mentioned. Something NFL podcast or whatever.
Crappy. Well, one guy's a New England fan, so he had his time. It's done. But anyways, so they very rarely say good things about the Packers.
No,
and when
they
do,
hate the Packers.
Freaking pains them so much.
I know.
But one of the guys...
I think, I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. I think that was the show, if you remember last year, one of the guys was the one on there that was like, I had postulated for a while that these media guys hate the Packers and they're rooting for their downfall because they're tired of talking good about them. One of the guys flat out said it. He's just like, I can't, I want them to be bad because I'm so sick of the Packers. I'm tired of talking about them. I'm tired of hearing about Green Bay and all this stuff. Like, they just have disdain for the team, for the city, for the fans, and they don't want them to be a thing. And these are the arrogant D-bags that, just want, like, whatever. You're right, though. It feels so good now that they just have to sit and suffer and talk about Jordan Love is that dude, and the Packers are back, and you have to talk about... And then if they don't, which a lot of times they won't, like, they'll downplay it a little bit, I get to come in and tell them they're stupid, and then when the Packers overachieve, not because I'm a genius, but because I'm just saying what's obvious and pointing out that little gap between reality and their bias, I just make them look... I point out how stupid they are every time. It's a good relationship. It's symbiotic between me and these Packers haters. It's great.
They all kind of agreed that when they're talking about draft, they basically said Green Bay is in such a good position as far as what they have, the ages of what we have, that we could just do best player available for any position. I mean, probably as a quarterback, but that's actually an incredible compliment to Goody for picking who he picked, and I'm just going to say for Coach Lefleur for developing people, because you can go to a bad coach and he ain't going to develop you. So I got to give them both credit, but really you got to start with the people. So that's an amazing, for someone just a couple of years ago people thought was the worst GM on the planet. And I'm not no goot licker, but I mean, if he just keeps picking people like he does, I mean, who wouldn't be, for crying out loud? But yeah, they actually said we could just go best player available, and I think that's good. Obviously, I want offensive linemen. Can you just imagine if we had a good pass, run blocking offensive line? Oh my gosh. I mean, I almost wish they would go towards more run blocking than pass blocking, because Jordan Love has displayed the ability to
he'll be fine.
Read the pocket, be very aware of his presence and what's around him, and move accordingly, kind of like, Rodgers used to do in his prime. 10 to 16, 17. So I tell you what, if we had a good run blocking offensive line, oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm going to start geeking out. So anyways, go back to say.
Well, yeah, I keep fluctuating too, because I'm all in on this corner thing now. I definitely want one. But yeah, you're right. First of all, we need offensive line, but second of all, just having an elite offensive line, I mean, it's never not a good thing. There are certain times where it's like you got good safeties and your team sucks. Bro, if we have a good offensive line, you know how good we're going to be? Especially if we can pick up that run blocking. But, I mean, this is the other thing. We always think of just like patch and, at least I do. It's like you get a guard, it's like, okay, we get a guard. And you just think like, we're going to replace John Runyon. Like, okay, we'll get a new John Runyon, freaking whatever. No, I'm talking about like, what if you get a Travis Kelce level, did I say that, or is it Jason? Now I'm getting all Jason Kelce level offensive line. I'm talking like elite, like top 5. And the Packers do it all the time. And that's the thing. They can crush a 4th round pick and make him good. What are they going to do? I mean, Elton Jenkins, I think, was a good pick with the second pick. Josh Myers, maybe not as good. He had struggled a little bit last year. But what if they just absolutely crush a freaking home run, first round, even interior offensive line? They just knock it completely out of the park and just get. I'm trying to think of. I can't even think of the guy's name. I can never think of anybody's name. I'm trying to say it because everybody will know, but I can't think of anybody. David Bakhtiari level right guard. Just an absolute stud. How impactful that's going to be. Josh Sitton, for crying out loud. You know how freaking good that guy was? Oh my Lord, that guy was amazing. And just imagine a guy that plays for 10 years for the Packers and is like a top 5 guard every single year. Dream and dream and dream. I love it. I'm so excited. But, I mean, then you get back to, again, corner, and you got, I mean, imagine, again, let's just go sky high here. Imagine Jair as your number 2. I know some people are a little lower on Jair. I'm a little higher than I think a lot of Packer fans these days. But I think most of us can agree Jair is at the very least a pretty solid number 2 corner. That's a great situation to be in. If we go up and get a guy like Fashanu, that everybody acknowledges he may struggle a little bit with the run blocking, but is just an unbelievably good tackle. It's like, well, what about Rasheed Walker? Like, I like Rasheed. I do. He gave up the second most sacks of anybody in the NFC North. So he's not the greatest. He's fine. But I'm talking about, what if we just re-up like we did going from Rodgers to Love? What if we just go from Bakhtiari to Fashanu and you're good? Just throwing it out there. What if you get, Cooper DeJean, and it's just that lockdown corner that can be a versatile piece. You can put him in the slot. You can throw him at safety, whatever it is you want to do. Jackson Powers Johnson coming in, just throwing people around. Graham Barton, he's basically like Elton Jenkins 2.0. He can play anywhere on the offensive line. We're having this big debate, like, okay, he's the best offensive lineman we got. Should we put him at left tackle? And it's like, no, just put him at guard because Rasheed can hold it down. It's like, yeah, but Barton would be an elite tackle. It's like he's so good everywhere. We have that big argument. I can't wait to start fighting about the 53 cutdowns and who plays where and what we're doing with the offensive line and how good these guys are going to be. We're getting so close. Anyways, folks, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate everybody for checking out the show. Joe, thank you so much again for your $4.99 super chat. Really appreciate all you guys and your support. Big shout out to Ticket King. Ticket King is the reason I'm doing this stream, to be completely honest. They have been so gracious as to sponsor this YouTube channel. And I think if they hadn't done that, I'd probably just be done with this. But I have to honor our agreement. And so thanks to Ticket King, we're going to be doing as many of these as possible. I'm going to try to get back to jumping on these every night. It's a little bit late even tonight. but I had to do it because Ticket King is such a great organization. They are a Wisconsin-based organization. They wanted to work with the Packers channel, so they reached out to us. And Clayton and I have been working with them. They're really, really good people, huge Packer fans. So I'm hoping when we start needing some Packers tickets in the future, we can start throwing Ticket King a little bit of our business. But anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.